All right, got a cup of tea here. I'm gonna look through the charts. I've not looked since the weekend, and there was obviously a bit of movement here. So I'm just gonna look through it and kind of give my opinion on what's happening. So yesterday we had a big move down. Uh, one sec, I'll look at that as well. So yeah, yesterday I had a big move down. We're at 96k right now. We went from basically 95 all the way down to 89 pretty much. So yesterday we had from top to bottom a 7% move, which is pretty big, especially in the space of what, like 8 hours, 12 hours. And since that we've had a pretty decent rebound in this section. So I'm gonna cut this chart down a bit. This is the 4 hour chart. To me, we've been in a range since back here, which is what, mid-November time, and the range is pretty much that. And then the top of the range is a wee bit different, but I'd probably say there is your top of the range. So to me, this is just an accumulation phase. That's kind of what happens when you call it either consolidating or accumulation phase. And it's kind of when you have such a big push up in price, which you have here, and then you just kind of go up and down and up and down and a bit of sideways movement until the next either push up or push down. So you normally call that an accumulation phase, which you can kind of see like this whole bit here back in September was all probably a massive month long accumulation phase, where, if you probably remember it, was pretty boring and nothing really happened. I mean, from like the top to the bottom was, about 30%, which is still big, but I mean, this kind of stayed like this from 1st of March till basically Donald Trump got elected, which was at the start of November. So that's kind of what we've got here. I don't think it'll last this long. Uh, this was rough. This is basically a pretty tough time in the market, and you know yourself how boring it was. And it can be boring because even this is quite boring. Nothing really happens. Things just kind of trickle down, like altcoins and stuff just kind of get burnt because Bitcoin's not doing anything. And for altcoins to do well when Bitcoin is doing nothing, then you need this to be going down, which it's not really been. It's kind of, even in all that period, the Bitcoin dominance was going up and up, which means Bitcoin's dominating the market, the crypto market, which means alts basically do this. So this is like the Ethereum against Bitcoin chart, or basically the altcoins against Bitcoin chart. If this is going up, then your altcoins will be going nuts, like it did back here, kind of like April May time, as well as like basically the start of the year. This is like good price action. This is absolute dog shit, and that's why basically every alt, apart from a select few, is done pretty badly. The good news that I have for this is I think we're at the bottom here. And the reason that I've said this is, if you draw a fib from the bottom of this to the top of that, you're basically falling into this demand zone of the 0.75 to 786, which I explained in this video of kind of price targets and how to know when to buy and when to sell and when things might reverse or go up or go down, the points that you should be noting on your chart. So you can go and watch this. Kind of explains this whole situation, and how to use it. So to me, we'll possibly kind of chill down here, which we have been for a little while. You've kind of had free taps at the support, and then I'm kind of looking for a reversal here. Soon you're getting pretty compressed by the support and the EMA. So when that happens, you kind of have a situation where you end up with the EMA. Say this is your EMA line. In fact, we'll add it. See if this works. I've never done this before. You've got your EMA, and then you've got basically like solid support. And when price trades in this, down with the EMA, which it's been doing as you can see in the chart below, and then you kind of find solid support, then you start to really compress, and then it has to decide either get above the EMA and start going, or else break through support and turn it into resistance, and then the EMA will basically keep bossing it on the way down. Depending on market situation, you can kind of predict what's going to happen here, but I see this doing this and getting above the EMA and going back up. It's been going down for so long, as you can see, with the EMA, which is the blue line, by the way, if you don't know what I'm saying, the 50 EMA. To me, it's found good support here. You've had 1, 2, 3 bounces of support, which you've not really had in ages, really, a very long time. So to me, I'm kind of looking at this scenario as chill down here for a bit more and then start grinding up, which would be nice. In terms of Bitcoin, what do I think is going to happen? So, as I was saying before I went on that wee rant, is we're in a range here, an accumulation or consolidation range. And when this happens, you have people longing from the bottom of the range, which is always a decent trade, which you can kind of see. You know, if you longed anywhere close to the bottom of the range, then a lot of the times you would get that like here and went up, here and went up, here went up, here went up, here went up, here kind of went up. But a lot of people don't scalp, and that's a scalp trade when you basically take a trade and sell it in the next like day. That's kind of like scalping. A lot of people try and do trades where they'll, you know, open a trade and not go for 5 or 10%. Instead, they'll go for like 100%, which is just greed. And it's very rare that a trade will make you that unless you're on really high leverage. But that's what a lot of people have done here. So to me, people have opened a trade here, and they're still holding that trade here, which is over a month of holding a trade. And the way that people's brains normally work when they open a trade is you have your stop loss. So to me, anyone trading, say for example here, they'll always put their stop loss below like the most recent low of the range, if that makes sense, which to me is this. That's the lowest that you've went in this range. I mean, that was 26th of November. You've never broke that until obviously yesterday. So to me, a generic trader that as bad as it sounds doesn't really know too much. I've done it before, but the market maker knows how these traders work and where their stops are. So to me, you've had loads of traders opening trades at the lows, always putting their stop loss below this low, below this wick here. And then yesterday, obviously this happened. And I call this running the stops or running the lows, which basically means it's a move where it's like a stop hunt, and the stop as in the stop loss. So any trader putting just below that and their stop loss is there, then a stop hunt is when price goes into the stop loss and liquidates people. And I know that because, for example, this whole move here was pretty catastrophic, and that was on the 17th, 18th, 19th of December, just before Christmas. Ruined Christmas for everyone. That move back then liquidated a lot of people, 800 million in longs, which is mega. You can see it from the bottom right there, just the green bit. So 800 million in longs, and yesterday's one was 600 million in longs. So not far off it. But when you compare the two moves, that was from the top here all the way down to the bottom here, which is a 15% move, compared to yesterday's, which is the top to the bottom, of a 7% move. So there's no way that a 15% move should be taken anywhere near as much as a 7. It should be half, but it's not. And that to me shows that a lot of people had their stop losses in this zone. I'll delete this right now. In fact, I'll make this red, just to so we can tell them apart. Oh, that's not red. That's red. So this is all the stop loss zone. And we'll put that in. Bang in the middle, please. There we go. So that's your stop loss zone, and that's your range low, which you can't see, which is good. Oh, it's because it's to my right. Sorry, boys. So there's your range low and there's your stop loss zone. So the market maker wants to do a move to the range low and into the stop loss zone where everyone's stop losses are, and then making loads. As bad as that is, that's just the way the market maker works. And you also need to flush out loads of traders usually with a big move like that before going up, because there's so much liquidity down there in this zone. There's so much money there waiting to be had for market makers in this zone, so they need to bring price in here before going up. That's the way I see it. When you kind of think the way that a market maker thinks, it starts to make a lot more sense. The market starts to make a lot more sense. I do have a course on this, not by me, but by a guy that I bought the course off. It was like 150 quid course. If any of you are really interested in reading it, then I can send over the screenshots of the course, because it is quite interesting. So yeah, bit of a rant there as well, but to me this is alright. I'm not worried about this. That's just market maker doing what they have to do to make money, in my opinion. So the range low, you're back into the range. Let's talk about price action now. So you've deviated under the range, you've got above it, and then you're back up. So you've exited the range, which is the deviation part. You've got back above the range low, and then you're back in business basically. When this happens, you aim for this at least. So to me, this move will end at 100k at least. If we then get above this range, for example, if this then goes up here and holds, then you've turned your range high into support, and you'll do possibly something like this move here, where you'll sit above it and then start to move up. All-time high is obviously here. That's the place to be. If we do that, then I would see this whole zone as your next zone of resistance. So we'll see what happens. Obviously we've got like Trump coming in next week and stuff, so to me that's pretty possible. I was thinking that when Trump comes in it will be like a kind of sell the news event, but to me it's that sell the news event's already happened here, so it could be very bullish with Trump coming in. That's kind of my take on the market right now. The dollar's really high, if you can kind of tell from here. So I've got a bit of a block pause, I don't know why. So from like October to now, the dollar's just been up and up and up, and this is pretty wild for the dollar to do this. Very quick, and not loads of structure to it as well. It's not as if it's kind of retesting all the kind of levels that it's done. It's not that strong. Like this is pretty strong structure because it's higher high, higher low, which this is as well, but you have to retest zones like this, and you have to retest zones like this and zones like this a bit more. So to me, this, where it is right now, you could start to see that turning over. And when that happens, things like your S&P, which is in a bit of a downtrend right now, things like Bitcoin, things like gold, everything that's basically against the dollar will start to tick up again if this goes down. If this breaks above it, then you're aiming for this level, which isn't far away, to be honest. So not loads to worry about, but I don't really see it getting by here, to be honest. Stock market, just quickly. We do have the EMA here, which we broke below, which happens, a lot of the time with the stock market, you kind of dip below it. It scares the shit out of everyone, which is happening here. But I think you'll probably get a case of this scenario where you kind of dip down it and everyone shits their pants, and then you get above again and start going. If Trump's coming in, I don't see the stock market doing badly in the first year, especially with like earnings coming out and stuff soon. So to me, probably a good buy zone, to be honest, for the stock market is at this kind of level where this is all pretty solid support. You've used this once, twice, 3 times, and then you're using it a 4th time. So if it does hold, that would be a buy for me. Your next level after that is probably here, which could happen as well, but for it to drop that much is possible, but I feel like it would already have done it now, unless we get a bad CPI, which is also this week, which is like interest kind of stuff for America, the American government. Unless we get a retest of this zone and then up. Possible. Very possible. So that's the 2 scenarios I'd be looking for. Either a bounce from where we are or else back down here. I don't see that going any lower than that. Things like Ethereum, as I said, you kind of need the Bitcoin dominance to be going down for that to start ticking up. Just look at this quickly and see what I think. So I think this kind of zone that we're at just now, obviously we've rejected in this a few times and been above it and then took a big rejection from it. It is a tough zone for the Bitcoin dominance. As we can see, the reason that I've charted it might be a bit easier if we look on the line. This whole zone has been a rejection zone, support zone, rejection zone. That's kind of the way it's played. And to me, this line has to keep coming up and keep coming up, the same way that we done for that to then break down. Once that breaks down from there and starts going below that, then you're really looking at your alt season coming in, which means things like FET, XRP, Doge, any alts basically will start going nuts, which is a nice thing. It won't go down too much. It won't be as in like what I drew. It won't be that. But to even come down to these levels here in this box that I've laid out, or these levels, but probably more this level, is where I see it kind of going next after that. We'll look at the overall market in general instead of just Bitcoin. So this is the total too, which is the crypto total market cap excluding Bitcoin. Let's see. Charted some stuff before, but it looks a wee bit messy. So nice. I laid out, this is a while ago, I don't know actually when I done this, but that was my buy zone in here, or around this area. I think that was my initial like buy zone, and then this was kind of my buy zone, my sell zone. So this was just a temporary sell zone, but this was definitely a buy zone, which I'll do here, inside center, which we came in once, we came in twice. I did buy a lot of stuff around this level. Obviously that happened yesterday, which is nice because you're kind of around the EMA, as I said. So I bought a lot of stuff here. If that is the bottom of the market, then what we really need to see is exact same kind of scenario again. Is exact same scenario again where the compression between this trend line, which is going down, plus the EMA. So you kind of want that EMA to kind of go like that, and your price just coil up in here, get above it and go. That's what you want. That's kind of what I'm looking for. And this can happen anywhere in here. But that's my kind of ideal situation for this. This move, I don't really see it going any lower than this. It could, obviously, but I don't know. I think that's kind of all we needed to shake people out before going. So I'm looking for a bit of price compression in this little zone here before shooting up. Obviously taking out then, you know, these levels, plus then after that you'd really be looking at the big picture of the move, which, you know, could be anywhere to up here for your next kind of point of looking to sell, which I don't think correlates to anything, but nah, you're basically at all-time highs if you break above this zone. So once you do that, it's usually just about what's happening in other markets to slow the price down. It's not really about this. So yeah, that's probably it. I still am in FET. I'm still in Inge. I'm in Doge, which is performing alright actually. Some other small caps. I'm pretty heavy on Desync. It's my new kind of AI thing. I think this probably gets a listing on things like Binance soon. I'm still in Micro GPT. That's just another kind of small cap AI thing. I can do a video on what I'm holding going into the new year if you want. It might be quite interesting just to see and maybe compare it to what you've got. But overall, that's my view on things. I think when Trump comes in next week, you'll see a turn of events and it will be pretty good. I think the dollar's looking like it's going to top out, so to me that looks like it's going to come down, and things like the stock market and Bitcoin are against the dollar, so if the dollar goes down, then things like that, Bitcoin or stock market, should go up, or will go up, because they're against the dollar. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be a nice end to January, hopefully. And we do always have, like, I'll show you this quickly. I think it might be in here. It might be in, I don't know where I put it. It could be in here. There. We do always have, this is like the forecast of Bitcoin over the last like 7 or 8 years. And as you can see here, in January we do always have a kind of fall, and then February's usually a good month. So that's kind of what I'm aiming for now. Obviously this is a bit later in January, but I think this move has already been done, and we're kind of looking for a bit of sideways action, and then going into February a big tick up. So that's kind of the goal. That's what I'm hoping for this, and we'll see what happens. So I don't know what's up my nose, but I'm gonna go and fucking chill out for a bit. So any questions, let me know in the general, but I'll try and keep doing these as the market goes on. Alright, I'll see you later.